This is the Seestar S30 Pro, and I've been using it in the backyard non-stop for about a month now. Galaxies, nebulae, the sun, the moon, time lapses. I've got a good feel for it now, and it's time for my full review. ZWO sent me a prototype S30 Pro about a month ago for testing, and I have lots of images to share with you to show you what it's capable of. As always, these are my honest opinions, and the company has no input on what I say about it. By the end of the video, you'll have all the information you need to make an informed decision about which smart telescope is right for you and whether the S30 Pro lives up to the hype. Let's get into it. The Seestar S30 Pro is an ultra-compact, smartphone-controlled smart telescope. It's designed to make deep sky astrophotography simple, fast, and fun. You pick a target in the night sky like a galaxy, nebula, or the moon, and it finds it, focuses on it, and starts taking pictures of it. Gradually, it reveals the object right on your phone screen in real time by taking several short exposure images. The object gets brighter and more detailed the longer you shoot it, and it's a beautiful thing. It's called live stacking, and that's the smart telescope routine. There's nowhere to look at objects with your eyes. Everything happens on your phone or your tablet screen. When you look at the S30 Pro compared to the original S30, they look nearly identical in size and weight. But the S30 Pro adds several important upgrades that help you take better pictures of space in new and exciting ways. The Pro model includes an expanded imaging mode, allowing you to take wide-angle Milky Way images and time lapses through the secondary camera. In terms of hardware, the S30 Pro's main lens is a quadruplet apo refractor paired with a Sony IMX585 sensor. This is an absolute banger of a combo, and it's the exact sensor found in some of my favorite astro cameras I use on my full-featured rigs. I just did a video on the ASI 585 MC Air, and that's the sensor in the Seestar S30 Pro. The optics are well matched with this larger sensor in terms of image scale, and the stars look great corner to corner. Mostly, we'll get back to that. For a mini 30mm scope, the image quality is amazing. Who knew such a small aperture could work so well? I tested the S30 Pro over several sessions from my light-polluted backyard here in the city. These are real-world tests under moderate light pollution, sky glow, and even some moonlight in the mix for good measure. This is a true test of what you can actually expect to capture with a smart telescope from your backyard. If it performs well under conditions like this, you can expect even better results under a dark sky. Before I get into the key differences between the S30 Pro and the other smart telescopes available, I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, High Point Scientific. When my channel was just getting started back in 2018, High Point reached out to me, asked how they could help, and they've had my back ever since. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. That's right, 2001, the year I started dating Ashley. Man, I'm old. If you're not familiar with them, High Point Scientific is the largest retailer of telescopes and astrophotography gear in the US. They're one of those companies that pretty much everyone in the hobby knows because they've been doing a great job at supporting amateur astronomers and astrophotographers for so long. What sets them apart is their team. You can tell them what equipment you already have and what you're trying to shoot, and they'll help you build the right astrophotography kit based on your needs. One thing you probably don't know is that they have distribution centers on the east and west coasts of the US. This means that they can deliver your gear fast, which is so important, I know, in today's Amazon world. If you live outside of the US, like I do here in Canada, they have international shipping options as well. The bottom line is High Point Scientific is a great astronomy retailer that's been supporting me for years, so consider them the next time you need some new astronomy gear. Thanks again to High Point Scientific for sponsoring this video. It means a lot. The S30 Pro comes with a soft zippered case, and I actually prefer this over the hard style case that the S50 comes in. Inside the case, you'll find a small tabletop tripod that feels very solid. It's metal and noticeably more solid than the last one that shipped with my original S30. Back to this in a minute. Then of course the Seestar S30 Pro itself and a slick little magnetic solar filter. Okay, let's look at the specs and pay attention because this is where it gets interesting. The primary telescope has a 30mm aperture with a focal length of 160mm at f5.3. It's paired with an IMX585 camera sensor, one of my favorites for astrophotography in general. It's the same sensor found in the ASI 585 MC Pro and MC Air. This sensor has a pixel size of 2.9 microns and captures large images that are 3840 by 2160 pixels. That's huge. You caught that, right? Large images with serious resolution from a smart telescope. I've been waiting for this. 4K images that look great on a big screen, and you can even print them out at a respectable size now. These are 4 times larger than the ones on the original S30. I wanted to show you the image quality out of the S30 Pro. This is 110-second frames on the Orion Nebula in standard Alt-Az mode. So first of all, look at the detail in the Running Man Nebula there and in Orion. Pay attention to the star shape and quality. Look at how round they are. And this is in Alt-Az mode. So you can see they're a little pixelated, which is to be expected because image scale wise, it's on the sharper, crunchier end. It's a bit oversampled, but really, I mean, I've never minded an image scale like this, but it's worth mentioning. The other thing is, look at how huge this picture is. This is 4K, so almost 4,000 pixels tall. This is a real astrophoto from a real astrocam, the 585 MC. Just stunning data out of a smart telescope. So at this point, it's like, it's not just setting it up for, you know, just a fun bonus night to get some snapshots to post on social media. This is a real astrophoto that I would spend real time processing and add to my, you know, ongoing gallery of images. You can take legit images. So again, this is in Alt-Az mode. The EQ mode under dark skies, my God, you can imagine what you could accomplish there. The S30 Pro actually uses 2 different lenses and cameras inside the system. The main telescope or telephoto lens for deep space, the moon, sun, planets, and a wide-angle lens to capture a huge area of the sky. Great for meteor showers, aurora, and Milky Way photography. I've even done a few time lapses. The dual sensor design is super handy, and I fell in love with this feature the first time I used the Dwarf 3. The wide-angle lens is just so practical for looking around the sky at night or during the day. I've even used it as sort of an all-sky camera to monitor the clouds until I'm ready to start imaging. The sensor used in the wide-angle lens is an IMX 586, which isn't used in any astro camera that I'm aware of. But like the primary sensor, it's also 4K. So a lot of people have been asking me, what's so special about the S30 Pro and why should I even consider it? Bigger sensors, baby. Give me 2 4K sensors. That's the difference. When you look at the S30 Pro and the original S30 side by side, they look identical. They're the same weight, same dimensions, everything. I have to double check which one I'm using. The S30 Pro does weigh a little bit more because of that added storage space. There's 128 gigabyte storage, which weighs it down just a little bit. I'm just kidding. Wait, is this it? Pro. Yep, got it. It's a lot smaller than the S50, but it's bigger than the Dwarf Mini, so keep that in mind. Also, while it's here, one thing is you cannot move the telescope manually with it off the way you can with the Dwarf Mini. So don't try. You can spin this bugger around when it's off. This one, no, not happening. Unlike the Dwarf Mini, the S30 Pro comes with a tripod and it's really nice. By far the sturdiest, most over-engineered mini tripod I've ever used. ZWO always makes sick tripods. Now this is great for portability and travel and it fits in the case, but if you're using it on this one, you're gonna have to make sure that you have clearance over the trees with it sitting so low, or set it up on a picnic table or something to get it up a little bit higher. If you plan on using EQ mode, which you definitely should, pick up a decent photography tripod with a tilting head. This will put it at a much more practical height and allow you to get the right angle for longer tracking. The one I'm using is a cheapie from Amazon, and I need to get something a little more robust. The S30 Pro deserves it. Let's talk about the Seestar app, because this is a huge part of the experience. I always connect using the Wi-Fi connection, specifically with the station mode enabled. This means I can run through my home Wi-Fi network and I can control the S30 Pro from anywhere in the house. It's so sick. I do it while I'm watching the game downstairs. I've done it lying in bed, monitoring subs come through. Use the station mode. There's a bit of back and forth getting it to connect the first time you use it, but once it's connected, it will remember the network and you won't have to worry about it ever again. The NFC connection is a new feature on this one, but my old phone doesn't support it. So you press the button to power it on, open the arm, and you can start looking around your yard. At this point, it's basically ready to go. You can go into the Sky Atlas to cruise around and pick a target or search for one, and tell the S30 Pro to go to it. It will run a short calibration routine, find the target, and autofocus on it. This up and running style is great for beginners that just want to see some objects in space as soon as possible. No polar alignment, no focus, no finding targets, just point and shoot. Let's say you choose the Orion Nebula, which is a perfect smart telescope target because it's nice and bright. You tap go and the scope slews, calibrates, autofocuses, and starts stacking. The S30 Pro will gradually reveal the object using 10-second exposures and live stacking them into a better and brighter image over time. Look at this session I had during a surprise gap in the clouds on M42. This is in regular Alt-Az mode because I ran outside and plunked it down. Now, can you imagine the results after polar aligning the S30 Pro, taking 30-second exposures from a dark sky site? It only gets better from here. If a frame has tracking issues, wind shake, or star trailing, it gets rejected and it won't be included in the stack. You don't have to babysit it because it manages frame quality automatically. You can see the total overall exposure time at the top right, and it's really satisfying to watch that time add up. Because it's a set it and forget it type of deal, you don't have to keep the app open on your phone for it to keep running. You can do other things on your phone and just come back to see your progress over time. If you're like me in the city, filters are everything, and the S30 Pro has a fantastic built-in light pollution filter. While the built-in UV IR cut filter is what you want for broadband targets under dark skies, the dual band filter is optimized for capturing nebulae from the city, which is what I do most. It isolates wavelengths in the H-alpha and O3 wavelengths, similar to something like an L extreme. The band passes are wider, 20 and 30 nanometers, but this is a better fit for these small optics. And on my tests on the Seagull Nebula, it captures a really punchy image. This is with a lot of moonlight. The S30 Pro will automatically stack the images for you with live stacking and create a final file that you can process later. You can also set the option to save each individual fit file, which I highly recommend to give you more options in processing later. In my tests, whether I stacked it myself using PixInsight or it stacked it internally, the final images are very close. Make sure you do check off that option to save every fit file because I forgot this on the first night, and I was stuck with that final stacked image the Seestar S30 produced. The S30 Pro includes a solar filter as well that clips onto the objective lens magnetically. You can use the secondary wide field lens as a solar finder to help you line up, which is really helpful. At this focal length and aperture, you can capture the entire disk of the sun and see the largest sunspots. It's not a super detailed view like you would get with an H-alpha scope, but you can still get some cool shots and even capture the next solar eclipse. You can zoom in on a sunspot, record a raw video, and process the data for a sharper image. I expect people to push the limits of this feature, and I can't wait to see the results. In standard Alt-Az mode, just the tripod on the ground, the scope does a great job for quick results. My images of Orion and the Seagull Nebula were both captured in this mode. You'd be amazed at what's possible using short exposures when you take enough of them. If you don't want to get into polar alignment and a more complex setup, I get it. You'll be very happy with the images you can get in this mode. But if you're a bit of a tinkerer and you want the best possible images from this thing, you need to try EQ mode. To use it, just mount the S30 Pro to a tripod that allows you to adjust the angle and orientation of the unit. Most photography tripods are fine. The app includes a dead simple walkthrough to make sure you have the angle just right so that you are aligned with the North Celestial Pole. Yeah, it's a little extra work, but now you can capture rounder stars and, more importantly, longer exposures. How long? A full 60 seconds, enough to capture some serious signal. This is a comparable exposure length I would use on a full-featured deep sky astro rig on a robust EQ mount. Check out my results from the backyard on the Andromeda Galaxy using 30-second exposures in EQ mode. Okay, pretty cool stuff, but what's the battery life like? It's great, actually. I've been testing it out in the freezing cold, and this thing goes the distance, up to 6 hours of imaging. The battery usage depends on what you're doing, but for my deep sky imaging and live stacking tests, I got over 5 hours on a full charge. I keep a backup portable USB power bank nearby just in case, and you can just hang it from the tripod to keep it topped up. These are so inexpensive and painless to connect. Just pick one up so you never have to worry about it shutting down early. One of the upgrades of the S30 Pro over the original S30 is the internal storage capacity, up from 64 gigabytes to 128. This is plenty for deep sky projects, including saving every frame. But if you're recording 4K video files, it will fill up a lot faster. I usually pull the images off onto my computer the following morning, so as long as you're transferring the data regularly, you'll never run out of space. With that said, you can store a lot of images on 128 gigabytes. So how does the S30 Pro compare to the original S30? The biggest difference, and I mean big, is the field of view and overall image size. The S30 Pro captures images that are 2 times wider and 2 times taller. The focal length is nearly identical, but it's that sensor coverage that is expanded. So if you ever felt like you were a little too zoomed in with the original S30, the Pro takes a useful step back. You're not losing the detail from the closer view, it's still there but with more surrounding sky around it. Another huge difference is that the wide field lens on the S30 Pro can actually take pictures. The 66-degree field of view on that one is equivalent to a 35mm lens on a full-frame camera. Don't expect it to capture nightscapes of the quality I do with my mirrorless camera and star tracker, but it's worth experimenting with. The marketing material even shows a mode where it will freeze the ground and merge it with a tracked sky. I haven't tried it myself yet, but I know that's a feature that beginners will love. There were very few surprises in my tests overall, but a couple of things stood out that I wanted to mention. One is a little confusing, and I'm hoping user error is the culprit. I was so excited to capture the Andromeda Galaxy on a surprise clear night when the clouds cleared for about an hour in total. But something was off about the autofocus, and all of my subs were annoyingly soft. This isn't softness by high clouds. You can see in the image that the stars just aren't quite in focus. Here's what I think happened. I autofocused the galaxy during a passing cloud moment to start my session, and found that focus position. Then I canceled that run and waited for a clear stretch. That amount of time was enough to lose focus, and unfortunately, it didn't refocus again before starting the plan again. So maybe just double check your autofocus is locked in before investing a precious hour into M31 like I did. I was able to save it with Blur Exterminator, but you shouldn't have to. Okay, this one's a bit of a bummer, and I'm not sure if ZWO will release an update to fix it or if it's just not happening. The Dwarf 3 and Dwarf Mini allow you to view the secondary camera while you're imaging on the primary one. You see the wide field view while the telescope is tracking and taking photos of your DSO. Why is this handy? Because I can see if the primary telescope is coming up to a tree soon or if a patch of clouds is coming into view on the next sub. I got used to this dual view and absolutely loved it with the Dwarf. As far as I can tell, on the S30 Pro, it's one or the other. When I back out to the main deep sky camera and try to look at the wide angle, I get the "Are you sure you want to switch?" message. Again, this is a feature I didn't even know I wanted until I experienced it on another model, and I can't be the only one. All in all, I think there is enough extra power and capabilities in the S30 Pro to justify the price over the original S30. The optics have been upgraded to handle the increased sensor size, and the built-in filters worked exceptionally well in my test images. To have a real astro camera sensor in a smart telescope is an exciting combo. Ask anyone who owns the 585 MC what they think of it, and you'll understand why. Because the S30 Pro addresses one of my biggest hangups about smart telescopes, a tight field of view and tiny images, this is the one I'm most excited about in 2026. The Dwarf Mini is still the smallest model out there, and that portability is really important. However, the imaging power of the S30 Pro is on another level, and the price reflects that. If you're ready to dive into the world of smart telescopes and you've been waiting for the sure thing to come along, the S30 Pro checks that box. 2026 should be an exciting year in the robotic telescope world, and I think we all know what's coming next. Until next time, clear skies.